I don't think there's much to discuss when it comes to flat Earth. It's very easy to debunk, and the resurgence of flat earthers on the internet lately seems more like a group of trolls rather than anything serious. However, I still think it's interesting to look into how we can tell the Earth is round in the first place, and just show how much faith it takes to still believe in this flat Earth nonsense. So, in the 21st century, some people still can't figure this out, but around 240 years BC, a Greek astronomer named Eratosthenes was able to calculate the size of the Earth by measuring the distance between a pole in the city of Alexandria and a well in Syene, where the sun shined directly down from above at one certain day of the year. Now, by measuring the length of the shadow on the pole and the distance between the 2 points, he could figure out the circumference of the Earth, and it turns out he was only 16% off. But this only measures the circumference assuming the sun is so far away that all the light rays hit the Earth parallel to one another. Astronomers figured out the distance between the Earth and the sun using parallax methods, so when we piece it all together, it's pretty safe to say that the sun is distant and the Earth is round. But not everyone had the time to travel between cities and spend years triangulating celestial objects. So another popular way of seeing the curvature of the Earth was telescopes. It's amazing what people figured out with only the naked eye, but with a telescope, it's much harder for your eyes to deceive you. A boat disappearing into the horizon actually appears to be dipping below the horizon due to curvature. Flat earthers like to claim that if you zoom in far enough, the boat will pop back into view. But if this is the case, then the boat hasn't traveled far enough. On a flat Earth, the boat would actually just continuously shrink into the horizon until it gets too misty or something, but that is clearly not what we observe. We observe boats going over the curve, indicating a round Earth. Flat earthers might still try explaining this away by saying it's atmospheric refraction or a mirage, but that is not affecting anything to this extent. If you think your eyes are being deceived when seeing a boat go over the curve, then here is quite literally a mountain of evidence that the curve is real. When we travel towards a mountain, we observe it emerging peak first, and bit by bit we see more and more of it, and the foot of the mountain last. On a flat Earth, the entire mountain would emerge with the foot visible from the very beginning. This is not what we observe. Atmospheric refraction and mirages are certainly not able to explain this. Next is the sunset and sunrise. This is more specifically counting the azimuthal equidistant model. It took me a while to figure out how to pronounce that. This is the model that flat earthers typically like to use, where the North Pole is in the middle and the South Pole is an ice wall surrounding the flat Earth. This version has a sun that spins around the North Pole, illuminating parts of the world, creating time zones and seasons. Now, not all flat earthers agree to this model, but it is the most commonly used one, so I'm going to tackle it anyway. My biggest problem with the AE model and the locally illuminating sun is that it doesn't match the way we observe sunsets. We see the sun dipping below the horizon without changing its angular size. But if the common flat earth model is correct, then the sun must be shrinking as it approaches the horizon. Even worse is, I don't even know if the sun would be capable of completely hiding itself under the horizon. I don't even think it would ever go completely dark. And it's simply not what we observe. You can check this for yourself. Grab a pair of binoculars and some sunglasses, or preferably eclipse glasses to avoid eye damage, and watch as the sun sets without changing its angular size. You could argue that the model is wrong and the sun does go below the flat Earth, but this completely ruins time zones. Maybe your friend who lives on the other side of the Earth is only pretending to be asleep while you're awake, but I think there would be a more plausible explanation: that the Earth is round. Having the South Pole surround the entire Earth creates major problems for circumnavigation. Flying a plane around the equator is normally the longest round trip you can take on Earth, and circling the Arctic and Antarctic Circle should be a much shorter trip. But on a flat Earth, the Antarctic Circle is way larger than anything on a real Earth, and that makes for a much longer trip. Flat Earthers can't even confirm how big the Earth is meant to be. Forget about trying to cross the South Pole to prove that the Earth is round. Just sailing a boat around the South Pole would be a major telltale sign. If you're going east, you should be turning right to get around. But on the flat Earth, you'll be turning left, traveling around the entire world, and the trip would be much longer. So, those are just a few ways that you can tell that the Earth is not flat. People have been able to see this for thousands of years, but some people still want to deny the evidence. I do wonder why none of the flat earthers bothered to take any expeditions to the South Pole to try and explain all these odd phenomena and this odd continent that surrounds the whole world. It's almost like they're afraid to discover the truth, whatever that truth is. Anyway, I think I lay this case to rest. This has been Armarti. Don't forget to subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.
I guess I'm not ashamed to say my name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat Earth closet.